English 250 and 251. Please remember to download Single TV on the respective app stores. When you download it, please rate it. Let me know how I'm doing my job. Single TV app is totally free. You can find it in Google Chromecast, on Amazon Fire TV Stick, Roku Stick, and all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. And today, I'm so excited, I'm grateful and joyful to introduce you Dr. Connie Osterholt. She is an executive coach as well as a leadership coach. She's an expert in this field. She helps women in business and in leadership field to find their voice, their confidence, and power to reach and exceed their business and life goals. Welcome to the house. It's such a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Paola. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
You're so welcome. Please share with us what inspired you to help women, to be better leaders.
It's when I came to America, you hear by my voice that I'm not from America. So I only landed here in 2009, but I've been working with American companies since 1996. And I come from a country called the Netherlands, where things are a little bit more equal, I would say, between men and women in business, right? And not totally. And we have some industries that are totally male dominated, and that is sometimes by choice, and sometimes it's not by choice, right? So I've always been a little bit of maybe a rebel and go like, we need to be allowed, everybody need to be allowed to pursue and do what they want to do, what they desire to do. And there is no limit. There's only a self-imposed limit. And often you see that women have more of a self-imposed limit than men have. So I always wanted to break those barriers. And I always wanted to go and, just do stuff. And I heard from friends and from male friends, oh, you cannot do that, or that's not possible. And that always like motivated me to go like, I'll show you. So over time, I did some like wonderful things, and became more of a role model of what you can achieve in a business world, in a leadership role, and how you can do that without losing, if you have a feminine core, without losing that feminine energy. And people like that, and people like the contrast. You have a male speaker on stage, and then there's a female speaker on stage, and they like that contrast. And what I've seen in the business world predominantly, but maybe also leadership roles, that our example has always been masculine. So a lot of women thought, well, that's how we need to be in order to get a spot on stage, or in order to get the position or the role. So they took over those masculine traits. And if you have a masculine energy yourself as a woman, that is a perfect fit. But when you have a feminine energy as a woman, that might not be the best fit. And people feel that it's not in alignment, it's not authentic. And it's just wonderful to see that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve, no matter what energy, when you're authentic, when you're self, and when you have enough motivation and drive and fun to do what you want to do.
Wow, yeah, motivation and drive and fun. I love that.
But fun is a must. If it's not fun, please stop doing what you're doing, right? Yeah, it needs to be have
Yes.
a fun element as well.
Yes, I love what you just mentioned about how there are some women out there that had adopted that masculine behavior. So they
Yeah,
think they have to act like a man in order to achieve things. But
yeah,
our nature, it's we're females. We tend to giggle and laugh, and we tend
yeah,
to love.
yeah. And
And
it's not like black and white, right? So it's like, what energy do you have? And it's true that probably most females have a feminine energy, but it's not true for everybody. And that's okay. Just be true to who you really, really are. But it's funny if we go to speaking or even in a leadership role, that when they see a female form, a woman on stage, they expect more caring. They expect more almost love, right, to be expressed. And a man, in my opinion, can get away with a lot more than we can get away with. They can just have their hands in their pockets and, just state things. And sometimes, in my opinion, be a little bit too direct or too harsh or even rude. And the audience is going, okay, that is what it is. But when you, as a woman, do that, they go like, oh no, we don't want that. That is not okay. So it's not, it's the expectation as well from the team or the audience when you come as a woman and you speak to them.
Okay. So what mindset do we need to develop, to grow and to continue to dive into this world of leadership and pursuing our goals and grow our business?
Right. So, and there's different things, right? Because growing a business, being in a leadership role, being an entrepreneur, being an owner of a middle to big business, they're all quite like different, right? And having your own company and all of that. But first off is, what do you really want? So know what it is that you really want, because some people might not want to be the leader on the forefront. They like to be the leader in the back office or the leader that is supporting. There's several forms of leadership. They might not want to speak on stage, but want to do more one-on-one or in small groups and not big audiences. So know yourself and know what you really want. That's the first step. And I always wanted to, help as much as I can. And one on one is perfect. And I still help one on one. But one on many, you help so many more at the same time, right? So, what do you want? Because each role that you choose can be the perfect role for you. So it's not that all women need to have a business and build out their business and be leaders and own big companies. No, it's a matter of choice. You can be totally be the leader in your community. You can be totally the leader of like the what is it, peanut bowl, right? You can be totally the leader in your family. But I think that part of being a leader is kind of sorting out your values, what you're standing for, what is important for you, what is important to include people, coming from alignment, coming from integrity, wanting to make a difference, want to make help people to do what they want to do to fulfill their possibilities, their goals. And if you want that, if you want to step up as a leader and be that forefront, please go for it. You just have to be yourself and not be afraid that you're not perfect or not good enough. Because, when I started speaking, and my language is Dutch, and I speak a couple of other languages because in my country, nobody had it. It's such a small country, nobody speaks Dutch, so you have to speak other languages, but I still have an accent. And sometimes I mispronounce a word or grammatically I'm not quite correct, right? Who cares, right? Because it's just me that's coming true. Words are just 7% of whatever I say. It like the body language, the tone of voice, it doesn't care. If you speak with passion, honesty, and if you're courage enough to show who you are, and that has like part of a vulnerability in there and part of an indifference in there, I'll just show you who I am. And what you think of me is not on me, that is on you. I'll do the best I can, and you either can receive that message or you cannot receive that message, but that is not a responsibility that I have to carry. Does that make
That
sense?
that is beautiful. Yes, I am an immigrant. I'm from Mexico, and that stopped me for years. I was quiet
Yeah,
because I wanted to blend, and in order to blend in, I had to be quiet because I have an accent. And
yeah,
I practiced to get as close as I could, no thinking that, I had to belong. I had to be just like them.
right.
And every time I talked, and if I messed up, then it was like I was so embarrassed. And it's like, oh, it's like you need to practice more. You need to practice more. So I relate so much with you, and it's so It's so beautiful. Just want to let the audience know that I had no clue that you were from the Netherlands. I had no clue that English was not your first language, but it's like here I am. It's like you're being my hero right now. And
Oh, thank you, thank you.
oh,
And it's like good to grow and to know better and stuff like that. But I never hesitated to ask. I go like,
yes,
what's that word again? It's like, and then they come up with the word. They say, oh, thank you. So if you don't care yourself, the audience doesn't care either. And
yes,
sometimes, not often, but sometimes, I say something and people have to laugh about that. And when I hear myself, I have to laugh too, because it came out differently than I meant to. So it's kind of funny, right? But if you get embarrassed about that, the audience get embarrassed too. So we just have a good laugh and then we move on. And I
yes.
think, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
And I think laughing with them and bringing some humor in is a great bonding experience.
That's
So, because
beautiful.
I'm just me, am I making mistakes? Yes, I do. But everybody does, right? We're just humans and we're fallible. So, it's okay to make mistakes, as long as you're aware and as long the intent is pure and as long as, like, yeah, it happens. So what? And it's like, that was not really a mistake, but at one point I was speaking somewhere, I can't remember where, it might have been somewhere in Europe, and I was writing something on the whiteboard, and I had those markers, right? And what I didn't know is, or I didn't remember, that I didn't put the cap back on. So I was standing like this with the marker, and I painted my nose black. And at
Oh,
some point, I realized, and I was going, "Oh my gosh," and we laughed, and they came with water and tissues and all of that. I was okay. So I'm not afraid of, like, when I do something that is a little bit silly, or when I do something that is a little bit out of the box. That's fine with me. So that is like a step in believing in yourself, in believing that, yep, it happens. No big deal. I'm not going to beat myself up that I wasn't perfect. It's just everybody does something that is either funny or that is not totally perfect. And when we can accept that from ourselves, we can also accept that from other people. And then talk and find a solution, right?
yes, beautiful. Yeah, accepting yourself just who you are.
Yeah,
Yes, I love what you just said. It's like try to be as authentic as you can. You share
yeah.
with us, be yourself, be authentic, bring that passion. What do you want?
Yeah.
Honesty.
And
Sure.
over time, you also learn to communicate, right? Because I think part of being a leader is to communicate very clearly, very decisive, very informative, but also to know who you're talking with, and to, since I have this language background, right? The multiple languages, you speak another language as well. This is not your mother tongue. So you learn to adapt in a way. But I found out that in communication, even when we all speak English, there's a way I would speak with you. And then there's another person, I speak slightly different to that person. So knowing how to craft your message in the way that people can understand it.
Yes.
Yes, because we all
Yes.
have our own imagination and our own perceptions, and to make sure you communicate in a wonderful way, in an elegant way, in a respectful way, but also so they can understand what it really is you're talking about.
Now that you say that, and it's so important, when you're in the leadership role to learn to communicate, you just share that with us. What about those beautiful mismatchers that you
Ah,
have out there? I,
I
I'm
love him. Yeah, I love them.
ah,
They're so easy. Don't tell them, but they're so
uh,
easy, right? So
okay.
you find out quite
I'm
quickly
gonna
what
take
a
it up.
mismatch is. So a mismatcher is when I say, "Oh, it's so beautifully sunny outside." They say, I'm looking at the sky." They say, "No, there's clouds. It's not only sunny." So they always look for the opposite of what you're saying, right? So, and that can, if you don't understand that, that can be very irritating at work, but also in your family or in a relationship, right? When they always look for the thing that is not the same. there's a picture with 3 blocks, identical in measure. 2 are standing up and 1 is laying down. Identical in measurements. And a matcher says, yep, they're all the same. And a mismatcher says, nope, there's 2 that are standing up, there's 1 that's laying down, they're not the same. So it's just a different focus and a different perspective. But here's the secret. You can give them the illusion of choice, and then they're happy. And I'll tell you in a minute how to do that. Because if I impose my perception, the sky is blue, it's sunny outside, that's my perception, I impose that on them. That's how they feel, right? Then I say, well, it's beautifully sunny outside. What do you think? So then I give them the choice of coming up with their own stuff.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So you
Of
make
course.
your statement into more of a question.
Okay.
You know, yeah, this is really complicated, isn't it? So that little question at the end, you know, they're more inclined to be happy because you give them the choice. You don't tell them how it is, but you give them the choice.
Okay.
So
Thank you very
you're
much.
more inclined to say, yep, that's really complicated. And if I wouldn't have asked them, they would say, oh no, this is easy, right? Just because they're wired that way.
Okay.
So have fun with the mismatchers. It's easy.
Okay, thank you so much. And I witnessed this a few days ago, this beautiful leader trying to lead. And then I witnessed that mismatchers and I just observed and I was able to advise, this beautiful leader based on my training.
Nice.
And now that you're here, I was like, okay, give me more because I need to learn more about uh, loving those mismatchers because that's what I was stuck
Absolutely.
to, Joseph McClendon III. I'm pretty sure you know him.
I know
He's
Joseph.
like, he's like love, he's like, just love them. Just, I was
Yeah,
like, okay. And I'm
yeah,
on that mission right now. I'm on that level where it's like,
beautiful.
okay, love them. But I
Beautiful.
saw,
Yeah, and it's also knowing that everybody has different filters. So a mismatching is just a filter. I have a little bit of it, but I'm not basically a mismatcher. So it's just a filter. I filter things through the information I get. That goes through my filter. So there's several filters, and sometimes they call them meta programs, right? And there's several filters that might be different than yours. But when you know what filters they're out there, you go like, I understand. I got this one. That doesn't mean that they're mean people or they're always rebelling. No, they just have a different filter system. So it's like I have sunglasses that are blue. I have sunglasses that are brown. I have sunglasses that are pink. And you see the world slightly different through those lenses. And that is just a program they have that we don't have.
yes, thank you so much for spending time and
Yeah.
diving into this beautiful mismatches because
Beautiful mismatches.
we're
Yeah,
all lovable, right? We're all lovable.
totally, totally. Yeah, totally.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's beautiful that you say that because it's easy to get along with people that are just like us,
Oh, yes.
and it's more difficult to get along with people who are different. But that doesn't mean that I'm good and they're bad, or they're good and I'm bad. It's just, as a person, I adore them, but maybe I do not like their behavior at times. So it's the same with my children. I love them, but especially when they were younger, there were some behaviors I totally didn't like. But that didn't mean I did not love them. So if you see that distinction, then it's easier to deal with a team as well and to accept that everybody is different and hooray that they're all different, because otherwise the world would be really boring, right? So it's just accepting, give some grace. It's okay. It's okay that you react that way, and I don't have to take it personal.
Yeah, please don't take it personal. Leaders out there. Yeah, that's one of,
Absolutely, leaders, most of the
yeah.
time, has nothing to do with you at all. Yeah,
Thank you. I'm a science teacher right now. And I don't, you know, Joseph has helped me a lot. Whereas like Paola,
nice.
love them. It's like
Yeah,
love them. Give me a strategy. He's so lovable and he has a treasure full of strategies. But the
yeah,
main one that he always shares with me, he's like, love them, just love
yeah.
them.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh.
Joseph and I worked together for in the same environment for many, many decades. So I know him very well.
Oh,
And
awesome.
it's so beautiful because if you don't love him, if you get like a little bit of a frustration or an irritation or like, oh, hang on, it's then you create a separation. And when you create a separation, it's very hard to get together.
Yeah.
That separation. I remember that when I started working for Tony Robbins, and I was my first like little like thing was to translate. He was in where was he, in Belgium, and I was translating for the between the Americans and the German participants, right? And it was in a small group setting. And one of the German participants, my German is pretty good, but I'm Dutch. I'm not German, but it's pretty good. And sometimes I had to look for a word or I had to say it in a different way. And one of the group was very critical of how I said that. And I felt myself that she was getting on my nerves, right? Like, come on, I do my best here, listen to me. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I caught myself because, of course, me getting like slightly agitated made her even more firmer in like giving feedback. And when I switched it around, like you said, and just loved her through it and thank you. And it's so wonderful that you do that. There was no tension anymore and it went way better. So, yes,
Yes.
love him.
Yes. What is your advice, to those women out there who are in the middle of opening up a business?
Okay. Congratulations. First off,
Yeah.
awesome. Don't give up. Don't give up. Because often, if you look at small business owners, right? I'm one too. I do not have a big business. I mean, I have lots and lots of clients, but I do not have a corporation with 10 different offices and stuff like that. Never wanted to. But when you start your business, especially, it comes from a passion. It comes from, I want this, my product is awesome, my service is awesome. So you come from a passion, and then you have to learn business because your passion is your craft, is your, you wanting to make a difference. And then you all of a sudden you have to learn accounting, you have to learn sales, you have to learn marketing, you have to learn a lot to get the business off the ground. So it's the advice is don't give up. If it doesn't work one way, find another way. Find role models, find mentors, go on YouTube, study all the information that is out there, and find people who can help you in the areas where you're not the strongest at. So if you're not good with numbers, I'm good with numbers, but I can't stand working with numbers. I don't like it. So I have somebody who does the numbers for me, right? And I have somebody else doing different things for me. So surround yourself with people that are great at where you're not so great at. And then you just start your business. Maybe you barter with them. Maybe you exchange services or exchange products. So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And you can also take a look what most small business owners don't do. You always can look at getting a loan or getting a grant. So just don't give up. If you're convinced that your product is helping making a difference, is helping people feeling better, looking better, or make it easier for them, don't give up. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. That makes sense?
Yes, of course, don't give up. And here comes the second question, and I think I know the answer because the way you answer this question. What about those women that they say I tried everything and I don't see results? What would you tell them?
I first would ask, what do you really want? Because you don't have to have a business. It's great to be sometimes the second person in charge or to just work what you love to do in a team. So it's kind of became became almost something everybody has to do, that everybody has to start their own business, right? That's so awesome. No, some people rather not. So if you rather not have your own business, find your place in a business that is according to your ideal, according to that works with your passion and all, and be happily working for somebody else. There's nothing wrong with working for somebody else, right? But if you're really determined to have your own business, you might need a little bit more help than you thought you needed. And it's okay to ask for help, because I think a lot of women have learned never to ask for help, right? Because that's a sign of weakness. We don't want to be seen as weak, you know? Yes, ask for help. Go and look at people that have a similar business, maybe not the same, maybe the same, have a similar business, and say, hey, how do you do that? You know, I happen to naturally be good at sales, but I'm not naturally good at marketing. I'm not, right? So I had to find out how to do that, and then to find somebody who helps me with that. And I had to search quite a bit. It was not, I went to the first person and, oh, I got the answer. No, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth, right? I really had to do some research. But for me, my core belief, and I'd like to offer that to all the women that have tried everything, is my core belief is there is always a way. There is always a way. And if it means that your business is not immediately taking off, yeah, that happens when you start your business. It has a little bit of a lag time, and sometimes the lag time is longer than you want to. And for some people who start their business by themselves, maybe you need to hang on to your job a little bit longer. So there's money coming in, and you build your business up over a longer time, maybe than you anticipated, but you still have money coming in. So it's not, I need to make money by whatever 1 month from now, otherwise I have to give up. There's always a way. Does that make sense? If
Yes, I
you
love
want
that.
to be a business owner, there's always a way.
There's always a way, ladies.
Yes,
Yay.
ladies, there's always a way. Yeah.
So, where can we find you? If there's people here in our audience that wants to know more about you, learn from you, guide us
Yeah.
to your location.
Yes, well, I'm on the social media, so under Connie Osterholt. My website is Dr. Connie, Dr. Connie online, one word.com. But I also love to get text. So if you want to text me at 310-980-8411. That's the easiest way of getting in touch with me. If you want to learn more about what I put out, the little video clips or the little quotes or the little lessons, go to social media. There's lots and lots out there from me, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you give me permission to add it to our YouTube channel description?
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay, so drconnieosterholt.com.
No, Dr. Connie
Uh,
online. So Dr. Connie,
Con.
Connie online, one word,
Okay.
dot
Okay.
com
On
is my
dot
website.
com.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll make sure that I put it in the description of our YouTube channel. So any
thank
viewers
you.
out here today that would love to watch the replay is going to be on my YouTube channel. Go to Paola Guthrie. There's
Yeah,
any business owners that you know, any women out there, or anybody that you think they're about to start their business and they're doubting, they need this information, share this video with them just to help them
absolutely.
out.
And there's
Yes,
lots more out there because, as a beginning a business owner, you have to keep an eye on the cost as well. And sometimes you can pay a lot of money, right? And so there's lots free stuff out there from several people, me myself included, that can help you get over a hesitation or over a setback, or even help you with advice how to tackle some of the problems that you will have to face. If you don't want to have problems, don't start your own business. Don't get married, right?
don't
So
live. Yeah.
yeah, but every
Yeah.
every problem or challenge, you can find a solution for that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes. No, the fear of failure is normal. Imposter syndrome, fear of success is another one. So
Yeah,
there is different
yeah,
psychological mental stops that is like, okay, hang on, do I want to do this?
hurdles,
Because
right? Yeah. And I work
it's
with
normal.
a lawyer, and where there's a high percentage of men in her office, and a lesser percentage of women. But sometimes the women come together, I don't know how often. And they were talking about the imposter syndrome, right? because they often get, and it was like almost with every woman, they got like the feedback of, you don't have an executive presence, or you don't have enough confidence. What do you do with those things? Because it's not even specific. And it comes from a male perspective that probably doesn't understand the female perspective. So, what is it worth? But when you really hear that coming to you, you might go like, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough, or I couldn't do that, or they don't think I'm worthy, or whatever. So, and of course, you have to build that up, right? But what you have to learn is that there are people, whether they're qualified or not, they like to give you feedback. And I always look at them, well, would I ask you for advice? And when the answer is no, I would never ask that person for advice. I don't take their feedback as well. Does that
Good.
make sense?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah, because you
That
know the people, right? They give you unsolicited advice, and you go like, "Oh, okay. Do I take it in or not?" Or you can listen to it, and you can go, "Is this really true? What if it's true? What if it's not true?" And then move on.
yes, because sometimes we stop our dreams because of those fears of like, oh, they said I'm not good enough. Oh, they didn't give me feedback. Oh, they're not telling me, good job. Like I was a 2-year-old starting to walk or run. We expect them to like,
Yeah,
yay, go for it.
yeah, yeah,
And
and I remember many, many years, decades ago, I decided that I wanted to write a book about flirting, and not just flirting with your friends and in your relationship, but flirting in life and flirting in business. And I thought it was a really good concept. And then I listened to some of my friends who thought it was totally ridiculous. So I never wrote it. And then years later, there was an English woman who came out with that concept, and I was going, darn, I shouldn't have listened, right? So
oh
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Oh
So
wow. So
yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
beautiful audience is like, here's an example of how, like that's something you wanted. It was a thought and somebody stopped you from that idea. So you listen to them because of the fear of failing.
Yeah.
And here you go. A couple of years later, then somebody else gets the idea out to the audience and the audience love it.
Yeah.
So
But there was like also a lesson in there, right? So once I got that, I was like, darn, I shouldn't have listened, but I did, on me, right?
but look
And
at look now we're learning from you. So
yeah,
it's a
exactly.
circle.
But then I decided to accept my possibilities and chances, and to say yes, whether I felt I was prepared or qualified or not. I was going, I'm saying yes to opportunities, and I'll figure it out. So at one point, I got and that was funny because Joseph was supposed to do a 1 day in Germany, and he couldn't get out of the country because his passport was expired. And I was already there in Germany. So they asked me, actually, they asked the man first, and he turned green and didn't want to do it. And then they asked me to take over that day from Joseph. And I said, yes. And then after I said yes, I went to the bathroom and I was going, what did I get myself into, right? But then I was going, I'm going to figure it out. So to say yes to opportunities and to know you will figure it out was, at least for me, a way better approach to things. And it gave me a lot to have that.
You
Yeah.
grew a lot, I bet, from that experience.
I had to, because my yes is my yes, right? I cannot like half an hour later say, oh no, I really don't want to do it. So, and you have to figure it out.
Uh,
And I believe, Paola, that people have so much talent and skills in them already. And it's kind of those untapped resources. And unless they set you up, right, you have to deliver right now, and you said yes to it. So we expect the delivery. You're not tapping into all the things you already know, all the knowledge you already have. So there's a whole wealth of knowledge and skills and talents that you already have.
yes, that's one of the beautiful lessons I've learned is like it's everything within you already. You just have to
Absolutely.
get the courage to give a couple of steps.
Open the door.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we enjoy life in the middle of like hustling, the new business, the hustling,
Right,
the
right,
family and everything else?
right. And somehow we picked up that you have to work really hard for your success. And I have nothing against hard work. I'm a hard worker as well. But what I've learned over the years, when I'm only working hard, I empty my battery, right? My energy battery, it's going to empty. And then I'm still working hard, working hard, working hard, but I'm running on empty. It's not as productive or as effective or as well received as it could be. So I've learned that it's a necessity to take care of me first in order to give out endlessly. So I need to take care, I need to have time where I don't do anything, or I need to have time to sit on the beach or walk on the beach, or, do something else, go work out and prepare my meals in a more nutritious way. So I need that in order to be able to work hard. So that is
Yeah.
a balance. They go together, and you cannot have one without the other. I need to have time to connect with my friends, to connect with my family, to have time for my relationship, because all of that fills me up. And then I can work even more effective, harder, and more beautiful. So it's a must. You really, seriously, you have to have both sides. Otherwise, it's not working.
Yes, I learned from Brandon Bouchard's that the burnout is on us. It's like
Yep.
if you get to that spot in life that you feel burnout is on you
Yep.
because you need to make sure that your battery it's full in order for to continue to go. So whenever I'm feeling like, okay, I think it's time for a break, or I think it's time for me to recharge this way. So
Yep.
yes, for a beautiful audience, like that's something that it has helped me
Great.
realize that I am responsible if I get into that stage of
Yeah.
burnout.
Yeah. And it's not only women, but predominantly women think that you have to take care of everybody else before you can take care of yourself. And I like to put it the other way around: take care of yourself first so you can take care of other people. So it's, and the burnout that is like then obeying maybe to other people's opinions, because they might think you don't work enough or not hard enough or not other hours. And then you override your own balance with the best of intent, but you do so the wrong thing for yourself. And eventually for your team, for your boss, or for your family, you do the wrong thing as well. So really be careful and keep that balance of taking care of yourself and working hard. Keep that, and a balance is not never like this, right? It's like this, and it's
Uh, uh,
constantly moving. But keep that in place. Take care of yourself, please. Women
yes,
who
please.
work hard, who start all kinds of beautiful things, take care of yourself. You deserve it.
Yes, please. And I was watching one of your videos, and you were talking about brain and like the brain and the heart, and how some neurons are found in our heart.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to done more research about it, but I was very curious. Could you please share a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So there, it's very popularly said it's some of the same structure is also in your heart, right? I have a whole scientific that I can post somewhere, scientific research for that. So it's kind of the same systems are also in your heart. And if you listen to our language, there's a lot of, and especially in your own language, there is a lot of words about the heart, it's a heartbreak. It's the wisdom of the heart. The heart knows what it wants. So there's a lot of words where your heart is included. So we have been trained to listen to our mind, right? And we have a mind for a reason, and I'm very happy that I have a good mind. But if I combine that with listening to my heart, my decision has way more fulfillment, satisfaction, and is way more balanced. With my mind, I can override things. But when I go, well, what do I really feel about it? How would that look like? How would that impact me? How would that impact my team, my family? What is it, what my heart has to say about that, or your gut, right? That's another one. And then if you combine that with your logic, you have reached a way more fulfilling decision.
Okay.
There's
I do.
even a science, and it's called heart math, from really the math, the pluses and the minuses, that teach you that you, with your heart, they had a software. It's old fashioned now, but then you had, like, you were hooked up to the computer, and just by the power of your heart, by sinking into your heart,
Mhm.
you could, like, have a balloon going up and going over hurdles. But when you went from your heart to your brain, the balloon was crashing. So it was really training your heart to play a part in your life, to play a part in your decision making.
Okay.
So listen
Thank,
to your heart,
thank
women,
you.
men. Listen to your heart.
Yes, yes, yes. In the classroom, as like I choose love, like when I was like when I'm about to discipline and I'm like, okay, they're young, their brain's not fully developed. I
Yeah,
try to take those things into consideration and it's like, how can I show compassion before I make this decision? Thank you. I'm gonna have
absolutely.
to dive into, more into so
Yeah,
it's hard math.
yes,
I'll read
heart
more
math.
about it.
And there's
Okay.
also, you can just pull it up, some information about how that works, how the same cells, neurons in your heart that are similar to those in your brain. There's some research
Okay.
to be found on that as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. How
you're
can we
welcome.
become better leaders in the workplace?
As women, or in general? I
I
think
mean,
as,
go
yeah,
ahead.
go
Yes.
ahead. Okay. So as women, I think that we as women, we women are the biggest change makers. We really are. That's my belief. Because it has been traditional that there is a patriarchal society, right? So every man, male energy bought into that patriarchal society, and they're conditioned that way. It's not like they're all, like, not nice men. No, some are very nice men, but they're bought into the traditional way of thinking, the traditional way of, like, being. So if they react from their traditional patriarchal way of thinking and doing, they might say some, excuse me, some stupid stuff. And if we women take it personal and react to it, we're buying into that patriarchal system too. So instead of buying into, say, example, right? You come as a woman executive, you come into the meeting room, the boardroom, and a number of men is sitting there already. And one of the men looks up and say, "Hey, sweetheart, give me a cup of coffee." And as a woman executive, you go, "What? I'm not, like, here to provide coffee. I'm here to attend the meeting and to give some valuable input." So then we take it personal, right? And then you have again that tension and again that separation. But instead, you can say, "Hi, how are you? I'm Connie. And I'm here to attend the meeting." And then you give your title, "But I'd be happy to give you a cup of coffee as well." And if you do that, then they go, like, and they would never ask you again. Or you can even add, "And next time you give me one." Okay? Yeah. So then it's like you're playing with it instead of, like, taking it as, like, an insult, because you are the executive as well. You just play with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Or you can
clever.
tell, "I'm so happy you call me sweetheart. You made my day." And then you go, like, I'm just putting my notes down. I'm presenting to you in a bit. And of course, you make my day. I make your day. I'm going to give you a cup of coffee. And then they're all like, they don't know what to do. And I like to see that.
Oh,
Does
I
that
love
make
that.
sense?
Yes, it does. I love Dr. Amen. He read a book. He wrote a book about the female brain, and he
Yeah.
talks about how we can make a difference because at
Yes.
home we cook. We're the
We do
moms.
everything. Yeah.
We
And they're
guide.
so connected. We are like, we can use our left and right brain at the same time. Poor men, they cannot do that. But everything is like a plus and a
Yeah.
minus.
Yes.
So it's just, don't take it personal. If you have a boss or a
Love.
coworker that is maybe too friendly and grabs you by the arm, and and you go like, oh, do I have permission to do that to you too? Instead of taking it as like, you cannot do that,
Personal.
stay away, right?
Yeah.
Don't take
Yeah.
it personal. And we often take it too personal.
Yes. Don't allow the ego to drive to drive you to your behavior. Like here,
Behavior.
I
Yeah.
see compassion where you're like, oh, let me educate you just a little bit. But like you said, I'm here to present. I would love to give you a coffee. Like use your
Yeah.
compassion, not your ego, because our ego, it hurts. Like it
Yeah,
hurts a
it hurts.
relationship. It hurts.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
And it's fun to play with that. I remember a time where I just before I went up on stage for a pretty large couple of thousands of people audience, and a male presenter came up to me and he said, "You don't think that the audience will listen to a woman, don't you?" I said, "Well, I never had that experience. So let's see what happens." So it's like not take it in. I knew what he wanted to do. I didn't play that game. And I was going, no, I never had that experience. So
That's
just don't
beautiful.
buy into it.
That's
And don't
beautiful.
let your confidence be affected by it. They don't have no power to do that. You don't give them that power. Don't do it.
Oh, I love your advice. Thank you for
Yeah.
it. And I know we're running out of time, so I'm gonna.
No,
This is so good.
thank you.
Oh, so how can we develop communication strategies to improve leadership? Because sometimes you are between being a leader. This has to be done, and then you don't want to be authoritarian. Is that the right word? You
Yeah,
don't want.
yeah.
How can we become better communicators in this field?
Right. So, and there's no way around it. In a business, you have to take care of your bottom line. You have to take care of the money. Certain things need to be done. Right. So when you
Yes.
have a team, then you allocate tasks. This is the result. We need to have this result. Here's why this result is needed. So give them the background. And
Hmm.
then say, okay, allocating tasks, but have a conversation about that and say, is it okay? Is that in your wheelhouse? Can you deliver that specifically and by this date? If they go yes, then you go, thank you so much. I hold you to it. And if you need any more advice, please, my door is open. So it's take the time to really, this is the goal, very specific. This is the timeline. Here's why it's necessary for our business. This is the task that goes for you. Can you deliver? It's a very important task in achieving that goal. So that is still being clear and specific, but not like being bossy and go, you'll have to do this. No, talk about it.
Okay. Yeah. Share the expectations. This is what needs. This is what we expect out of you. This is what we need to when we need to buy, and this is the reason behind. I think
Yeah.
it's important. The reason behind.
Yes, and I know we're running out of time, but expectations are deadly. If expectations are not being communicated, you're in a lot of trouble. So, whatever you expect, wherever you are, always communicate what you expect, and then you can see if it's realistic or not.
Okay. That's yes. Communicate what you expect. Yeah. Sometimes they're unspoken expectations. Sometimes we think that they know or common sense. They should assume.
They should know, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they're different.
Okay.
They might not.
Okay, yeah, communicate what you expect. Yes, because we're all teachable. Like we're all teachable, we're lovable.
Yeah.
Uh yes, I love it. Yes. How can we build better relationships?
Talk, communicate.
Okay.
And with
Trust.
you,
No,
yeah, well, trust is something for me that
it's
has to be
something
earned,
okay.
but be compassionate. And when you're compassionate, that is with boundaries. So
Oh,
communicate your boundaries and be loving and compassionate within. Like as a boss, be compassionate. My door is open. You might say, my door is open from 10 to 12, and after that, I'm busy with my own project,
okay.
right?
Yes.
In a relationship, you go like, what really helps me is when you're late, that you send me a quick text or a quick voicemail that I know you're late. Boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So what really helps is you give me a 3-word explanation what is really going on. Then I understand. So compassion needs to have boundaries that satisfy you and give the other person the opportunity to do the right thing.
Okay. Thank you so much. The time is
It
up.
went so fast.
Yes, I appreciate you so much. You're welcome anytime. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your
Love
time.
to. Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you, Paola.
You're so welcome. Audience, thank you so much for being here with us. Know that we appreciate you so much. Remember that you are the only one who gives power to your talents. You're the only one who gives lives to your dreams. This beautiful show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thank you all so much and blessings.